up everyone, it's TGSF. Today's video I'm talking about a subject that people to happen a lot in FNAF, but when you look into it not that commune. We are talking about retcon in FNAF, and how they are not as commune as people think it is. This video is also pretty much the long version of a short I did before, but a video allow me to elaborate more. So to start we will define what is a retcon. It basically when you add in an informations that contradict a previous information stated in the series. For example, if I made a movie and said a character is left-handed, but then in the second movie I say they are right-handed, that is retcon, because I just changed an information that I stated before. And to follow we will go look at Scott's statement about retcon. First off, he started by saying he only has done one retcon, and for your information, this statement was made during the sister location era. We'll come back to that later. He then say this important line, there have been time, however, where my intention didn't come up as clear, in which case I use the next game to clear that up. It not really a retcon, it's simply an attempt to direct the story back to where I originally intended. But with this quote this is what I wanted to talk about, the concept of expanding and clarifying. This is what most retcon thought to be a retcon. This is not a retcon, this is just adding info to thing that needed to be elaborated. If Golden Freddy is just named Yellow Bear but then later on named Golden Freddy, that not a retcon, this is just expanding on something that was established before. Felt it had to be precede because a lot of time I see people do that mistake of, any new information is basically a retcon. Now let's move on to debunking some popular retcon. I reviewed a lot of retcon and gathered a list of retcon to debunk. If you have more put them in the comment section. So here's a list of 7 retcon to debunk, and before I go on to debunk them I'll give the base disclaimer that even Scott said in the past, which should be commune since but still here we go. Just because what you thought was canon, turn out to not be canon, doesn't mean it was ever right at any moment, it just mean you were wrong, so anyway let go. Retcon 1, William arrested. One of the more popular retcon is that William was arrested the day after the missing children, but is easily seen free until his eventual death in FNAF 3, so what happened here? Well, this one is actually answered by the book. In The Silver Eyes, it stated William was indeed arrested, but was released due to the lack of proof, since they couldn't find the body. Retcon 2, this one is actually the weirdest. It the possibility of the DCI kids being toys. Some think they possessed the toys, but it was retconned simply because it was never bought up ever again. You see why it weird and doesn't count. Firstly, even though I believe the DCI do possess the toys, it was one of my first commentary type video I think. It isn't even confirmed they ever did, but even though they likely do, where is the proof it was removed? Does that mean even the bite of 87 could never had happened if anything that isn't bought up again just didn't happen? This literally isn't a retcon. Retcon 3, the biggest one, the one that is commonly thought to be true, it dream theory, the theory that everything from FNAF 1 to 4 was a dream. I'll go over the debunk it was a retcon quickly, but if you want a better explanation I recommend this video by Gibby Good Idea. So yeah, the dream theory was likely never canon. To start, first, multiple point out the night guard Mike being the older brother was always the original intent. In FNAF 4 night section, here's this Easter egg where you can hear phone guy's distorted call, and you can also notice the animatronics pattern is the same as FNAF 1, Bonnie left door, Chica left door, Foxy closet and curtain, which are pretty similar, and Freddy is the more hidden one. And in the famous MatPat talk back, Scott seemingly asked to Matt who the night guard actually was.
Scott Cawthon, have you thought of who the security guard is? Because it is one of the final...
Meaning around FNAF 4 Scott knew who the night guard, Mike was, so it clear the night guard was the one having the dream considering these multiple parallels, and considering Nightmare Fredbear the protagonist had some trauma about Fredbear, we can tell it's someone who saw the bite. But then by process of elimination Mike being the brother made more sense. It explained why Golden Freddy had a connection to the protagonist, and overly always made more sense than crying child getting bit. So for 1 week he somehow stay at home for 1 week where he hear the grandfather clock then get transported to hospital to die after dreaming the whole story. Anyway yeah, second proof, Scott trend to reference old wrong theory sometime in the franchise. For example, in a April Fool false UCN mechanic he referenced phone guy being Springtrap. He referenced Foxy being a good guy, and on Nightmare Freddy's mechanic he referenced dream theory. Dream theory is also used in the movie and turned into a concept closer to what Remnant is, and maybe even something closer to what FNAF 4 is, but that a discussion for another day. But yeah, if Foxy being a good guy is in the same level as dream theory, I don't think it was ever right. Also a lot of the evidence used for dream theory don't make sense or are debunkable. The clock thing especially, since here is no grandfather clock in an hospital, Something that was said by actual doctor. So unless the timeline is like I said, crying child getting bitten, stay at home for a week, hearing the grandfather clock, then dying, which is weird. This evidence make no sense. Toy Chica missing her beak probably had to do with the bite. I talk about it in this video right here, so if you want a better explanation, go check it out. And for now I'll move on. Go watch Gibby's video for the better dream theory debunk, and yeah, for now dream theory is debunked. Retcon 3, crying child being puppet. This one is just like dream theory, but even worse because it generally never made sense. So it like I said, the theory that crying child was somehow puppet. So like, how did this even work to begin with? We literally see puppet origin in FNAF 2, which is not the same as crying child origin, unless we are counting scrapped ideas that never made it as retcon now, which is not how it work at all, let alone the fact you are assuming here's a retcon with a greatly flawed theory. Yeah, this one is just weird. Retcon 4, Mike and crying child being Afton. This one had no contradiction, it fall on the expansion side, nothing contradicted it before. Also heard here's a possibility they were always Afton's child, but I didn't explore that theory yet to say if it true or not. Retcon 5, Afton being alive. This one is one of the more recent debate going on. Basically the claim that Glitchtrap and Burntrap were supposed to be Afton, then due to the bad reception Afton returning got it was changed to the Mimic. Now to be fair, I can see why anyone would believe that. Afton whole catchphrase is him coming back, and we have stuff like guides straight up calling him Afton, and stuff like that, and it would have definitely fallen under a retcon. However, we have proof that show it actually was Scott's intention. But first off, we gotta talk about how a lot of detail that hint that Afton is Glitchtrap or Burntrap are not trustable, and it because most guide are not actually written by Scott himself, so they can get some detail wrong. Based on Steel Wool interview, in fact it seem even them don't know Scott's vision of the story, as they straight up say sometime ask them to put stuff in the game that they don't understand. I think this, combined to the fact security breach was made during quarantine, so communication was much harder, is why Burntrap looks so much more like Springtrap. I think Burntrap design just took much more inspiration on Springtrap than he should have had. So now to every proof the Mimic was always planned. First off, the tale from the Pizzaplex book, where the Mimic was introduced, were written back in 2019, back in Help Wanted. Second, Glitchtrap already had Mimic characteristic, as he can be heard mimicking Tape Girl. He also had some design detail that fit with what happened in the Mimic. When Edwin destroy Mimic, he's described to cry and drool, something we can see in Glitchtrap design, even in his Princess Quest form. Here is also that picture of an endo with ear with purple, which to me meant to hint Glitchtrap was linked to an endo character. And the strongest evidence, in the Help Wanted game file here are multiple endo image, called Origin of Glitchtrap. Doesn't get more straightforward than this. Mimic was definitely planned. I think I debunked all of the retcon I wanted to debunk, so a lot of assumed retcon are either unconfirmed theory and assumption, expansion instead of retcon, and just something wrong most of the time. But here is indeed retcon, since Scott said he did one during sister location time. So what was this retcon? Honestly, I don't know. My best guess is probably Charlie's gender like everyone say. My second best guess is the nightmare being real gas experiment by Afton via didophobia, as I don't think it was the intent, but this could fall under the expansion rule as they are still pretty much nightmare, just based on the actual experiment. Those are my two best guess. Comment down below what you think the retcon was. Subscribe to my channel, I post every Saturday evening from now on, and yeah, Sayo.